What is up, nerds? UEAKCrash here with a changelog video for my map Payload Prep Up A4. So the last version that I tested with this, I learned a lot. I was really pushing for not having to put another forward spawn in, but the biggest change with this version is I finally put this blue forward spawn in. When you capture the second to last point, this spawn opens up. It allows you to go up top, it allows you to go below. I fit it right into the geometry that was already there, so I was really happy that it just worked out really well. I didn't have to maneuver anything behind it. It was all open space back there. So I fit it in. It was something I was kind of being stubborn about. I wanted to try to see if I could get away with not having it in there. If you think about a map like Badwater, that last spawn is actually really far away compared to the actual final capture zone. So I was trying to do something like that, making people rely on teleporters and engineers in general, giving them a role. But it was still too far. I reduced the spawn time really short. I tried everything I could. It was too far, so we put the spawn room in, and I think it's going to help a lot. Another big change that I did is I actually added in respawn room visualizers to red last spawn because I forgot them. And to this point, blue could get into red spawn if they opened the door up. They couldn't open the door, but they could get in. There was nothing blocking them. So, my bad. It happens. I also adjusted blue's spawn room layout a little bit. I put some dividers in here. I got rid of the door behind because it just was really dumb. There's a good chance I'm remaking the spawn entirely after this version. We'll test this out and see how it goes. But, I don't know. I have some ideas for a new version of it that I think will be a lot better. But we'll test this for now. I also changed the cover around the second control point bridge. I didn't like how concealed red was when they were standing up there. It felt like they had a ton of cover because you were looking up at an angle at it. These little ledges here actually covered them quite a bit, so I shrank those down. I also gave blue some cover from red spawn when they're up there, just with this little metal plate thing. I don't know if this will stay, but it was worth a shot. It fit in here really nice too. It's like nice little edges there. It's beautiful. I also fixed a stupid little mistake where I had these spawn points here with just blue's first forward spawn after they capture the first point. They were enabled all the time. So when you spawned in, you could hop points by switching classes and get to this forward spawn and cut a decent amount of the spawn time, or the run time from the spawn room out. And it just would happen with luck. You could get there and get in there too. So it was dumb, and I make mistakes just like everybody else. I also reduced the timer increase on this second capture here because I did that as I felt like it was a really long distance between these 2 points, and I wanted to give them a little bit extra time to try to get there. But then that was in theory, but in practice it just gave them way too much time. It stalemated things out too long. You kind of need that last minute push. When you get in the last like 60 seconds, minute and a half or so, the attackers really push. They all of a sudden coordinate. You hear that 60 seconds remaining. All of a sudden, blue team is coordinated. They are a team. They all push at once, and you kind of need that a little bit to make pushes sometimes. So that extra time was just delaying that from happening. And even if it wasn't, and things were just getting held at a standstill, red was winning, it would just delay the game, and that's not fun. So I shrank that back down. I might need to shrink it down some more. We will see after the next test. I also fixed the bug that was trapping red players in their first forward spawn after capture. Typically, you'd put a teleporter in there or something to bring them back to the previous spawns. But for now, just as a quick fix, I made it so they can open the doors if they're inside after that point is disabled, but they can't come back out. So I just turned them into one-way doors. And speaking of one-way doors, I also fixed the one-way door trapping bugs that were plaguing the last version. You could get stuck in these doors. It was really frustrating. One-way doors have always been a pain in the butt to me. I think I have them figured out now. There's always like a really fine line. It's like one hammer unit you have to have the trigger in. Otherwise, they can touch the door from the other side and it'll open. If it's right to the edge, like Z-fighting with the door itself, they can touch the door and it will open, which is bad. That means it's not a one-way door, it's a two-way door. So you have to have it just a little bit in, and if it's too far in, they run through and it captures them and they get stuck in it, which, obviously that's bad. So if you're interested in testing, check the IP in the description below. I will be most likely playing for a little bit after this video gets released. So if you're here hours later, I'm sorry, I won't be playing anymore. So it'd be really cool if you could come help me test out. I've only tested this once, and it was kind of a roll. Teams were a little bit uneven, so I didn't get a whole lot out of it. So I'm looking for some good testing, and it would be really cool if you come join me. And just for development's sake here, to kind of keep you up to date on what I'm keeping an eye on, because I figured it would be a good idea to let you guys know what's going on in my head as I'm playing these maps, as I'm testing. This last point, I'm still not entirely sold on yet. I feel like it's cool, it works, it's fun. I like this back area. The spawns aren't bad, but the actual gameplay space down below is just not, I want to say dynamic. It's kind of a catch-all word, but it's not fun enough for me yet. So I think there's going to be some changes coming, but we're going to test the little changes out first before we try to do anything too drastic. I just changed that spawn room. That's going to change things quite a bit. Hopefully not too much in the favor of blue, but we'll see. We want blue to win more than red wins on this kind of attack defend map. You want the attackers. I've always shot for like a roughly 60, 70, 75% win rate for blue. And I can keep track of that with the TF2 Maps feedback plugin, which is really great. We are hooked up to my server, and the TF2 Map servers have the feedback plugin. So if you want to leave me any feedback, !FB, and then your feedback gives me direct feedback with coordinates to what you're looking at and where you're standing. And if you just want general feedback, like, I don't like this layout, I don't like this thing, the map is fun, good job, you know, positive stuff's fun too, type !GF and then your feedback. So specific feedback being like, this stairway is stupid, or I like this spot on the map, that gives me direct coordinates. That's FB. So thanks for watching. This is kind of rambly. I'm sorry. We'll get going better. I'm a little rusty doing these videos, but I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for checking out my map. Be sure to check the description for a link to the map, downloads, screenshots, server IP, all that fun stuff, and I will see you next time.